Hey, how are you doing today? Welcome to another Money Conversations with Mars. Host Marshall Weeks here with you, also known as Coach Money Mars, on another episode of Money Conversations with Mars. So, last week we talked about term life insurance and we talked about the different features of term life, what term life was. And so I figured we go into a review of that and then jump into the next type of insurance and let's compare them so we see which one works best. Now I'm going to share my screen. Now I did share with you that I am totally a fan of the term life insurance to the tune of having a business and encouraging people to take advantage of the term life insurance because it is less expensive. The goal is to build wealth. That is always the goal. Um, this, you know, it's all about the mindset. And I feel, and not only feel, I know just from my experience, people do not believe that they are supposed to be wealthy. They don't believe that they're supposed to be well off. People are very comfortable living check to check, no matter how much they say it. If that's all they've ever seen, that's all they ever known, they will say things like, oh, just robbing Peter to pay Paul. That's just how it is. Always gonna have debt. Oh, the economy's bad, so it's always going to be bad. And it'll be the same people who are saying, oh, I'm blessed and highly favored. So if we really believe that we're blessed and highly favored, then we believe that we're supposed to build wealth. It's like it's impossible to think, you know, I'm blessed and I'm highly favored by God, yet I live check to check. I cannot afford to pay all my bills. I do not make enough money. I don't see any opportunity to make more money. I don't want to look for any opportunity to make more money. So we have to make it make sense. You know what I mean? So term life insurance is renting money while you build wealth because you are supposed to have money. I am supposed to have money. Before I learned the correct mindset, I adopted the mindset of the people who were around me. And some people said that you should have a car payment, you should have debt. You're always going to have it. Well, you better get it now while you have the money. That's a lack mindset. So, what does that mean? That means my money's going to run out. So, I better get it now because I'm never going to get it. But I'm blessed and highly favored. That just does not track. It doesn't track. That sounds like the scripture being double-minded in all thy ways. You know what I mean? So, we're not double-minded. So, we need to understand that the things that we're saying, who we were raised by around, it may have been true for them. However, with our renewed minds, we now know better. So when we know better, we're supposed to do better. And each day we are to adopt the money mindset. Now, when I'm saying money mindset, I am not saying that. Do you remember those email chains? So when email became popular, people would send out these ridiculous emails that read, send this to 20 people and you're going to be a millionaire. Like, oh my goodness, just so taxing, right? I'm not saying by any means that if you go 30 days and you say every day, looking in the mirror, I'm going to be wealthy, then by 12 o'clock on the last day of the month, you're going to get a check in the mail. I am not saying that. I am saying that we have to adopt the correct mindset so we can attract what we want because everything lines up. If we have a lack mindset, we are attracting lack. We're not thinking about opportunities. We're not open to opportunities. When they put out at the job that they're looking to fill said position, oh, I'm not going to get that. They don't give that to people like me, or, that's a lack mindset. And so you won't apply for it. And God may be saying that position is yours, but if your mind is closed to that's what I mean to, the sum total. So I'll get off this soapbox, but our mindset is so important. It has to get to the mind before the heart. You got to believe it for it to sink in the heart. So if we really believe a thing, then what we're doing, the action should show. So we could not have an opportunity before us, promotion, or, some opening on the job, or we may still be in process of applying or applying. But with that growth mindset, we don't give up, we don't quit, we don't faint. Does that make sense? Where the lack mindset says, well, I applied for 5 jobs yesterday and nobody said anything, so I'm just not going to do it anymore. The lack mindset says, well, um, I don't have this, I don't have a degree, I don't have, like a whole list of knots, but not focusing on what do I have? You know what I mean? So again, I say all of that to say we are supposed to be building wealth. Everyone's well off does not look the same. I would never sit before 2 different people and say, oh, both of you should be. What I would say is both of you should be saving and investing, and you should be tracking your money, and you absolutely should have insurance. You should have insurance, or you should have income. What do we call it? And I'm losing my thought. It's amazing. I had a very full weekend this weekend, and so I feel like I'm still recovering. But we should have income protection. I was looking for the word protection. And I'm going to show you today, after I do a quick review of this, I'm going to show you what income protection looks like. And it does not have to be expensive when you do the term insurance. So, term insurance, I already told you it's cheaper. I told you that it has terms. Remember how we talked about 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, right? So let me add on something. How do I know what term I should have? Did I show you down here that if you're 40 years old, what I would do is subtract 40 from 65, and that would give me 25 years. So I would put this person in the term of a 25-year policy and give them a 25-year plan to build wealth, because what we want people to have is liquid in the form of an investment, money that belongs to them so they can take it out when they want, when they need it. And we're going to put together a plan for you, short-term goals versus long-term goals, looking at the current debt that you have right now, helping you to get out of debt, because we all know that the less debt you have, the more you're able to save and invest and build toward whatever goal that you are trying to attain. It is different from everyone. We talked about the terminal illness riders, other features that you can add onto your policy. Terminal illness. You can also add on a child rider. Children don't need their own policy. They can be added on to the parents' policy, okay? And then by a certain age, then they get their own policy. But if the child is under 18, what do they need their own policy for when they can go on the parents' policy? It doesn't make any sense, right? So I like to tell my clients, we don't get wealthy off our children. They don't make any money. We don't depend on them to make money. They are depending on us. They're depending on our income. So if we lose our job and we don't have any money, or how are they going to survive? So that's why the life insurance or the income protection is to protect our loved ones if we were to expire early, leave this earth too soon. We also want to look at becoming disabled. That's another rider that we can add on. Because think about it, with long life, he will satisfy us, right? So we really believe that. So we're doing the things to achieve that because we believe it, right? What we believe determines our actions. If we believe that we're going to pass away at 50, we're probably not taking care of ourselves. If we truly believe that God is going to bless us with long life, so we're doing all the things that extend from that, So let me show you what I mean, because I think it's important for us to know why we do things, because we may be saying, why can't I do X? Well, let's go to the drawing board. So with long life, he'll satisfy us. What are we doing? Exercising, eating right, counting our blessings, getting rest, living life to the full, because we're just appreciating every day, and we're just to the best that we can. Things happen. We have families, jobs, businesses, we have things. But what I'm saying is, overall, that belief of long life, there are actions that extend from that. You know what I mean? And even if tell me, well, I'm going to tell you for myself, I have not worked out in a very long time. This myth about working out to lose weight, that is not the only reason why you exercise. You exercise for your heart. It's a great stress reliever. It gives you energy. It just makes you feel good. It's a great start to the day. And once upon a time, I would do it all the time, right? But it's like getting back on the horse again, or getting back on that bike. Once you go back in there, that's the hardest part, is going back in there. But once you get back in there, it just comes back to you, right? So pray for me, because I need to go exercise, because I need more energy. I just want to feel good, and your mind is clear. And I feel like when I'm exercising, I really can hear. That is a great place to be able to hear. When I'm on that, treadmill, or, sitting on one of the machines, and I'm lifting, and I feel like I can hear my mind is being cleared out. So anyway, a tangent, but your mindset, my mindset, our actions extend from that. So we're a work in progress. So even if the actions that we want have not extended down from the belief, we're just in process. So keep it in your mind. And each day you wake up, you renew your mind. And to me, you're one step closer. And whatever that thing is for you, like my thing right now, is getting back in that gym. Very hard for me, because I got to overcome my mind. You see, so we all have something that we're attempting to overcome. So, but let me go back to this. But it's the same thing with money. There is a thing that we all need to overcome in order to have the actions lining up with the belief. We all do. All right. So back to what I was talking about. Disabled. If we were to become disabled, that's another rider to add onto the policy. Become disabled. We live a long time. We get about 80 or something like that, maybe even 70. And let's just say we become disabled, and we're like, oh my goodness, maybe it cut some income. Maybe I'm unable to do what it is that I needed to do to pay for medical bills or something like that. I need help with the proper equipment I may need in my home. You can have a rider that will allow you to have some money, because when people become disabled, most of the time, they lose some of their income, because that whatever it is that's going on in the body is preventing them from working. Okay. So that they automatically, their income is going to get cut if they can go to work at all, based on the disablement, right? So how amazing is it to have a rider on your policy that allows you to get money to cover whatever that expense is. So those are examples of riders. There's so many more, but those are just examples that you can add on to the term. So if you're not working, think about it, in retirement, you no longer have things like short-term disability, long-term disability. So you can add riders on to your policy to take care of unforeseen events, right? Because even in all our belief, we know that things can happen, and we just believe for the healing. However, it's good to be prepared. And being prepared does not mean that you don't have faith. Okay? That's not what that means. You're just counting the cost. You're just using your wisdom. You know, that's all it is. It's not having faith to not be prepared. And then, the Bible says that, a good man or woman leaves their children and their children's children an inheritance. So the insurance policy, technology, all these advancements and things of that nature, you can add riders on to policies to take care of yourself. However, really, we're looking out for those who are coming behind us. Okay. So now that we have all that out of the way, I want to compare another type of insurance that's pretty popular. Sometimes I think people get this out of tradition. Maybe grandma had it, big mama had it. Whole life insurance. I feel like this type of insurance is really deep into the Black community. I remember my big mama had a $50,000 policy that did not pay off the house when she passed away. Because $50,000 is not a lot of money. Like, that's not a lot of money, especially when you're talking about paying off things. After you pay for a funeral, you buy a headstone because that's separate. You have a service, that's the funeral. You may want to buy some food to feed the guests. That isn't going to cover a lot. And then what's left after you pay debt? What's left for the family? How do you pay a home off with that? That makes me sad, right? And so even with this, someone still may have to start a GoFundMe, which is not life insurance, folks. We don't want to put our loved ones in that position. Like, I hate to see that. It just makes me sad because insurance is not expensive. And when we think about it, how many times do we go out to eat during a week, during a month? How many times do we go out to eat? How much money do we spend on shopping? Walk in the closet, look at the shoes, even if they're on sale. How much money do we spend on that a month? How much do we pay for cable a month? How much are we paying for our cell phone? When the new cell phone comes out, do we upgrade it? When you think about how much money we spend on everything else, and then we can't pay for life insurance, let's think about that for a second. Why is that? Why is that? That's a journal topic right there. Why am I paying money for everything else, and why don't I have life insurance? Okay, I'm not trying to, get in anybody's business, but seriously, how in the world are we going to start a family tree of generational wealth if every time someone in our family passes away, somebody has to take from their investments, steal from their children's future to help a grown-up who could have did that, who went on all the vacations, they were on all the cruises, every brunch, but they couldn't pay 40 little bucks for life insurance. Had the cable, all the channels, all the streaming, no life insurance. That's not fair. That's not fair to the children. It's not fair to the grandchildren. You're stealing their inheritance. Who carries on the family name? These are things that we have to think about. So I'm going to pause for a second because I think it's important to note, because I get this a lot. Again, this is what I do. When I'm talking about money with clients, investments, getting out of debt, and we're talking about what they want to do, because money, when you sit down in front and you're talking to someone about money, we're talking about life. We're really talking about life. Okay. The dollars and cents will define what's going to happen in life, right? As far as the plan. I'm not saying that God can't come in and intercede. I'm not saying any of that. I'm talking about preparation. Preparation. We should be preparing, doing what we can, right? Because putting the best foot forward, because we don't know what blessings are waiting for us down the road. But if we aren't even attempting to figure it out, we're not asking for help. When the blessing pops up, or when it's our number, it's our turn, we've not prepared. Can you imagine? You've been praying for a house, praying for a house, praying for a house, not putting any money aside for the down payment, but you go on every cruise, every trip, everything that comes by, you go. And then 3-4 years later, they're finally building the neighborhood, and the floor model is the home that you probably wrote down in a journal or visualized on your vision board. It's there, it's yours in the natural, and you haven't been putting money aside, but you've been saying, but I'm believing for this home, but I'm not putting any money aside. I'm not investing. That's heartbreaking. Think about it. So we ought to be in preparation at all time. So we're not going to talk about this today, the whole life. We're going to talk about that next week, because I want to tell you what you have on your job. I think this is important because a lot of people would say, I have insurance on my job, I'm good. And it's like, you're not good. You know why you're not good? Because that policy is owned by the employer. That's their policy. Employees have a certificate. It's a certificate. It's not a policy. That's important. It's important to know that, okay? You have not read the policy, so you do not know what it reads. You don't know the fine print. That fine print is something serious. Fine print, like, how can you die? Like, so if I have a car accident, am I covered? If I get sick, am I covered? If car accident, if it's an accidental death, what if I was in a motorcycle? What if I died riding in someone else's car? What if I died and I wasn't in the country? These are things that we need to know. Job insurance is awesome as a plan B. When I meet with clients and I'm writing a policy, I tell them, do not get rid of that job insurance. No, keep that. What are you paying? $2.50 for it? And it may be for $30,000 or $40,000. Keep it. Shoot, if they're going to pay, most of it, keep it as a backup, because life happens. You might miss a payment. You may get furloughed, and shoot, even if you get furloughed on the job, they may not consider you an active employee. So they may not even cover you during that time. Somebody say fine print. What's in the fine print? Maternity leave. One of my clients, I'll never forget it, she was on maternity leave when we met, had the baby. And when she found out while on maternity leave that she was not covered, and she said, oh my goodness, had I passed away on that table, my mom would have been stuck with my other kids, because I think that was her fourth. How would her mom would have been able to take care of all those children, to provide financially for all those kids? Love is amazing. Kids cost money. Okay. I have two. I love them. But I got to pay for lunch. I got to buy food when they, to pack the lunch. You know what I mean? Field trips, extracurricular activities. I have to pay for lights and air and water, electricity, all of these things. That's taking care of a family, not just for me. You know what I mean? So fine print. She said, oh my goodness, I need to have a policy. Do you understand? So we don't want to ever put all of our eggs in the job basket. That is very dangerous. So tomorrow, when you go into the office, call human resources, send an email, and ask them, may I see the policy? And see what they say. See if they'll let you read the policy. They probably are not going to let you read the policy. They'll probably send you a certificate. So you better have a policy that you actually own. And that's what we've been talking about. Getting a policy that we own, that's quoted based on what we need, what our income protection looks like, because again, on the job, that's not customized to you. So let's just say you leave the job. That policy is not going with you. Now, I know for law enforcement, when they retire, that's different. But I know people right now who have retired and they left with $20,000 and they had worked for decades upon decades for this company. And they left with $20,000. And we're talking about people who still have mortgages. They still, nothing changed. They just stopped working. $20,000. What is $20,000 going to do? Now, if that's all you can do starting out, then we're going to start somewhere and we're going to figure out how to get that up. But when you have a home that costs over $300,000 and that's it, the family's going to have to sell that house. So we don't ever want to put ourselves in a position where we're behind the 8 ball. You know what I mean? So let's also look at this. Just took a different turn today. I thought I was going to jump into the next type of insurance, but this is just very important because these are the things, we probably know. However, we need to make sure we're clear on it and it's right in the front of our minds. So what does income protection look like? Well, I'm going to show you. This is something that you can do at home. This acronym: death, income, mortgage, education, debt. Funerals range between $50,000 and $20,000, not counting the headstone. Income. When we leave this earth, we want to leave our families with 10 times our income. So if you're at $60K a year, it would be nice for you to have $600,000 in that category. For mortgage, today, if you wanted to pay off your home, what is the payoff? I'm just going to put $250 right here. And then for education, this would be the question for someone to ask if they had children. You may say, I have 2 kids. So-and-so plays soccer. The other one is a football player. I'm pretty sure they're going to get scholarships, academic and athletic, because my kids are pretty smart, right? Look, that's what we're saying about our babies. And we're saying, yeah, they're going to get scholarships. However, just in case, I think I'd like to contribute $40,000 for each. So I'm going to put $80,000 there. And if they get the scholarships, we'll just invest that money. If something happens to me, I'm going to leave some instructions in what's called a will in my estate. And I'm going to say the kids cannot get this money until said age, because that's up to you, because everyone knows their kids. Our kids are different. They mature differently. So you may want to put that $80,000 in someone else's care until they turn this age. Okay. So that's education. Debt. How much debt do I have right now? So let's just say you have someone who has about $50K in consumer debt. That may include loans, credit cards, not counting student loans, but they have $50,000. So let's add all this up. I'm just going to use the max, or not the max for a funeral, because a funeral can cost more than 20. I'm saying on average for us regular folk, 50 to 20,000. So 20 plus 600,000 plus 250,000. Bear with me. Let me redo this. All right. I'm putting in our income, 10 times our income. I'm putting in the mortgage payoff, which we said was 250,000. I'm putting in the money for the kiddos. We're contributing 40,000 each. And then We have $50,000 in debt. So for this person, income protection would be right at $1 million, meaning when this person passes away, it would be nice for them to leave $1 million to pay for the funeral, to leave the family with 10 times their salary. So yes, I'm gone from the earth, but my family still have 10 years of me. They can't get me back, but I can leave them something to help them mourn a little bit better. Mourning with money is differently than mourning without trust. Been there and done that. Mortgage, this is real life, folks. I mean, look, death is just a part of life, right? So think about this. Think about if you were to leave this earth too soon and you have children, how much better would it be for your kids to remain in the home? Grandma or auntie or, whoever you've left in care of your kids, which is something that all of us should always be thinking about when we have kids. Who is it that we trust to continue to parent like us? Who is it that we trust that would continue to take our kids to their extracurricular activities? I think about that all the time. There are some people I know who love my kids. They love them, but they are not going to make sure that my kids go to their extracurriculars because they think that's too much. I would never. Okay. So I've had conversations because when you've invested time and money into your children and you all have talked about the vision and what you want to do, you want to put your kids in the care or have someone in place who understands the vision, not someone who's going to come behind and try to undo it because they don't believe it, folks. So know the difference between someone who loves your kids, because it's different than, I love them and stuff, but I ain't doing all of that, than a person who, I love your kids. I respect your family. I respect the vision you have for your family, and I'm going to help you carry this vision out. That's two different people. Hopefully your one person covers all the bases, but, pray that God reveals to you who that person is, person or persons. It takes a village, just in case. You see how money is life? This is life. We're talking about life. It isn't just like the almighty dollar. I got to get some more, hustle, hard. This is life we're talking about, folks. So I need you to go home after this live. I need you to get some paper out, get that journal out, and start writing some stuff down. Let's have these conversations with our loved ones. You know what I mean? We're believing God for a long life, but let's just prepare. Let me move on. Okay, so this person's income protection is $1 million. That is income protection. A $50,000 policy, that's just insurance. There's a difference between insurance and income protection. So I've showed you what income protection looks like. Now you may say, well, $1 million, shoot, that's a lot. I don't know if I can afford that. Praise God. Well, we'll start somewhere. That's when we work this million down. We'll just work it down to what looks good for you to pay a month. And then there are other riders I love where I can increase your policy each year. Increase it each year, 10%. The price would go up a little bit, nothing that you would miss, and it would go up gradually so you could build up your income protection until you, businesswoman, secures that contract where you can call up and say, I'm ready to move that thing up to $1 million because now I got an empire that I need to cover. You understand? So this is what I need you to do for homework. Get the journal out. Write down the acronym DIMED, Death, Income, Mortgage, Education, and Debt. Figure out what your income protection looks like. For those of you who already have a term life policy, I need you to pull it out. I need you to dust it off and figure out, does your policy look like income protection or do you just have insurance? You may have purchased a home since getting your policy. You may be on the second home. You may have a rental Airbnb. You may have a booming business. Does your policy protect your legacy? Do you have instructions to go along with that income protection or with that policy? Does the beneficiary, the person who will get the money when you pass away, do they know what to do? Do they know your vision? Do they share your vision? Think about these things and write them down. Now, if you have any questions about anything that I've shared today, please, please, please send me a message. You can reach me at coachmoneymars@gmail.com. Send me a Facebook message. Send me an Instagram message. I'm on Instagram _money things from Mars. Let me know your questions. Let me know if you need help. I'm here to help always. So again, we covered a lot of good information, a lot of things for us to think about, but really pull out the journal and do some preparing. Okay. And then, we always pray over everything. We may write down a plan, but we always leave it open for God to come in and make additions and make his changes, right? Because he knows what's best. So always a pleasure to be with you. I hope this has been helpful to you. This is something that's very close to my heart, having lost both parents, and I've experienced both sides of the coin. So if you have any questions, again, not knowing what to do, how to do something, where do you start? I'm your person, always happy to help. Always a pleasure spending some time with you, Money Conversations with Mars, and I will see you next week. Ashamed of trying to make a ways now. Money, money, money.